If you cheat most time, you get caught. Even those who think they've got away with it often get busted before long, and sometimes it's hard to figure out what these people were thinking. Take UFC and individuals who test positive for illegal drugs. You know someone is going to come round your house and check your blood, and yet you assume you can get away with it. That makes no sense. Pro wrestling doesn't work that way though. You can smash someone with a chair, punch them in the balls, or just run into the ring during a match that has nothing to do with you and attack at your will. Imagine that during the World Cup. Brazil are playing and then Panama storm the field and start whipping ass. Would never happen, even though it should. That is the beauty of sports entertainment, however, and if you can come up with a truly unique idea within this field, you can have a lot of fun with it. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is the 10 most creative ways wrestlers cheated to win. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. Number 10, Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie. Happening at the Royal Rumble 1995, Jeff Jarrett taking on Razor Ramon was far better than most expected, and in many ways, actually quite good. While Jeff may have struggled to connect with the WWE audience at first, teaming him with the Roadie was all that was needed to turn it into an enjoyable and hated act. In short, the Roadie was a vital component in getting Double J over thanks to rampant interference, and that was never better than 23 years ago during WWE's best pay-per-view. The soon-to-be Road Dogg was relentless in his assault on Razor's knee, clipping it for a count-out win, only to continue this ass-kicking after Jarrett goaded Razor into restarting the match so he could steal his title when his injured limb couldn't take it anymore. It was a masterclass in deception and one Ramon would never get retribution for, mostly as by July, Roadie and Jarrett were done as a team. Number 9, BRIE and NIKKI Bella. WWE took their time when it came to the Bellas' debut. Rather than reveal the fact they were twins straight away, it was a methodical plod before BRIE came out as NIKKI's identical sister and actually added something to the story everyone was trying to tell. As it seemed like NIKKI would lose to Victoria, a trip under the ring seemed to completely rejuvenate her. Quick roll-up shocked the veteran and confused commentators Jim Ross and Taz no end. The duo then pulled the exact same trick a week later and tormented Natalya before we found out what had been going on. Even that was well done though. As Natty and Victoria tried to figure out what had happened, they went under the ring as one pulled out Bella's lower half and the other the top half. As a visual spectacle, it looked as if she must have been 10 foot tall and exceptionally bendy. Of course, it was just the fact that they were two separate people. It was a very inventive way to both bring them to WWE and make it intriguing along the way. Number 8, Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude. How do you beat the indestructible Ultimate Warrior? You get Bobby Heenan involved, and that's exactly what Rick Rude did at WrestleMania 5. Although on paper it seemed to be just another muscle-bound scrap for the IC title, it actually kicked off a creative and critically rewarding feud. After the best match Warrior had ever had up to that point, Rude suffered a suplex from the outside back into the ring, which is where the brain struck. Seeing what was happening, Heenan grabbed Warrior's boot and held on for the 3 count while the referee didn't see a damn thing. This pissed the Warrior off, as you can imagine, and he beat the crap out of Bobby, something he continued to sell later on in the evening when Heenan was also thrown around by the Red Rooster. Number 7, Triple H and Ric Flair. It sounds weird to say now, but Triple H's victory over D'Lo Brown of all people in a blindfold match was his final act on the show before all that Katie Vick stuff kicked off. Nice bit of trivia for you there. Taking place thanks to Eric Bischoff's Raw Roulette Wheel, these hoods hadn't been used since Jake Roberts and Rick Martel put on a bizarrely entertaining clash at WrestleMania 7. This pair did pretty well with it too, the highlight coming when Ric Flair ran in long enough for Triple H to lift his hood, see what was going on, and hit a lightning quick pedigree. It was easy entertainment that we don't see often today. It was even better here given that WWE were about to go down a path where Kane was a murderer and Triple H was having sex with fake dead people. Should have stuck to the blindfold nonsense. Number 6, Mankind, Shane McMahon and the Corporation. The Survivor Series 1998 is still wonderful to me. The night The Rock began his proper heel character, it was one of the few times WWE has made a tournament feel like it really meant something, especially as the winner would become the new world champion. The real question was always going to be how to take Stone Cold Steve Austin out of the equation if he wasn't going to be victorious, and it basically took a small army to do so as the Rattlesnake battled Mankind. Aside from Shane McMahon's shocking turn on Austin, there were run-ins from Vince McMahon, Pat Patterson, and a chair-wielding Jared Briscoe to finish off Stone Cold on a clueless Mick Foley's behalf. The Boss Man was also supposed to be involved in this fracas, but amazingly, he was nowhere to be found backstage, and he missed his cue. This meant Briscoe had to smash Austin with the weapon to take him out, as Mick Foley was used and abused by the Corporation as they all came together to ensure that People's Champ came out on top. This was brilliant, layered, and allowed loads of stories to come off the back of it, and we should probably start doing this kind of stuff again. Number 5, The Rock. And talking of that night, one of those stories was The Rock teaming up with the McMahons to run riot. Having put the screws to Stone Cold Steve Austin earlier in the show, as we just mentioned, McMahon then reenacted one of those controversial moments in WWE history, and the ending to the previous year's Survivor Series, when he called for the bell, as he had done in Montreal after The Rock locked Mankind in the sharpshooter. Revealing this had been a ruse all along, Vince, Sunshine and the new WWE champion embraced before laying the boots to Mankind just to rub salt into the wound. It was cheating so good no one saw it coming, and we were all left with huge shocked faces, which is exactly what wrestling should always aim to do. Number 4, The Rock. Again, The Rock and Mankind always had great chemistry, but none of their matches are as memorable, maybe for the wrong reasons, as what went down at the Royal Rumble 1999. After the corporate champ and Foley had clashed a few times, including Mick beating The Rock for the title in a recent episode of Raw, it came down to a scrap Mankind thought the Great One couldn't win. An I Quit match. The Masked One would never say those words after all the suffering he had gone through in the WWE, so The Rock got creative instead. Smartly using pre-recorded audio of Foley uttering the words in a promo before the match, it was one of those situations where it's both clear what had happened, but also executed well enough to make you question it. Obviously what most of us remember is that finish that went way too far. The Rock destroyed Mankind's head with a chair to the point of lunacy. Number 3, Spike Dudley. Spike Dudley's pinching of the European Championship from William Regal was beautiful. Regal had been smashing people in the face for months at this point, always relying on a hidden set of brass knucks to ensure no one could actually kick out. He had the power of the punch. Finally, referees caught on to this, right down to checking William before a match and confiscating any illegal weaponry he had brought to the ring. Being the smart so-and-so he was, Regal simply started carrying a second pair, and he hid them in the ring. Unlike almost every wrestler in recorded history though, Spike was actually watching the broadcast before coming down the aisle. He then darted to the corner to steal the item before the ref made his final checks. He then sucker punched Regal and the Blackpool man was out for the count within seconds. It's not only fun to watch, but portrayed the babyface to be really smart and the heel to be an idiot. You know, wrestling. Number 2, Eddie Guerrero. Probably the king of cheating in a fun and wonderful way, Eddie Guerrero was just brilliant in 2005. Embracing the whole lie, cheat and steal mantra to the point you couldn't help but love it, he even managed to pull this off during his last ever match when he clashed with Mr. Kennedy. Just days before his tragic death, which makes it all the more sad at SmackDown, Guerrero won a spot on a Survivor Series team thanks to his tried and tested trick with a steel chair. After grinning down the camera lens with the referee down, Latino Heat walloped the canvas with the weapon before throwing it to the clueless Kennedy. Despite his protest, the ref believed he caught him red-handed and issued an immediate DQ. Eddie's mannerisms made this even better still, and watching this today will both warm your heart and make you want to cry. Number 1, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's victory over The Rock at the Royal Rumble in 2002 proved that Y2J could win the big one, even if he had to pull out every trick in the book to do it. Cheating constantly throughout the entire match, as well as relying on interference from Lance Storm and Christian, he even used ineffective refereeing courtesy of Nick Patrick to hit the Rock bottom with an almighty low blow and hurl his head into an exposed turnbuckle. Not enough for you? Don't worry, Jericho also rolled him up with both feet on the ropes. He'd done everything underhanded to claim the victory and yet still treated this win as proof that he was the best and that no challenge was beyond him. It was perfect bad guy stuff as Chris acted like he truly thought this and fans everywhere just wanted to see him get his head kicked in. So, mission achieved.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. Might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.